Hello and welcome back, and that is right, we're with UnifyDrive. Remember this from last year? It's one of my favourite products we talked about. It was a 2-bay mobile NAS device. I really liked it because one, it was the first truly mobile NAS device I had seen, and because a number of you have seen me at trade shows will know that this thing is generally always in my bag in one shape or form. Now, when I was over here in Shenzhen, China, I wanted to seek these guys out because one of the earliest things they said to me at the start of this year when we were talking about this, more on that in a moment, they were talking about how their next step after that mobile NAS device. Now, for those that aren't aware, UnifyDrive, they're in partnership with Zedspace, a Chinese-based NAS company, but UnifyDrive is kind of their Western arm. So, for example, when you're using their systems, they relay with US-based DNSs if you're in Europe and stuff like that. But today, what I want to talk about is their new range of NAS devices that are largely all arriving in 2026. Now, these all arrive with that same NAS software that we've seen before, but there are some improvements, and they are hoping to challenge a number of different Chinese NAS device options that have arrived in the market in the last 18 months. Now, let's go big, early doors, and talk about this. Now, right now, the name for this is the UP6. It may change later. I don't think it will, but they're suggesting it might. And this is effectively the big boy version of this. This arrives with a touchscreen. Now, the touchscreen isn't just to show the IP or anything dull. This is effectively eliminating the need for the client. So for those that aren't aware, the mobile NAS device, one of the things I've really liked about this is when you're on the go, it will allow you to, for example, take the memory card out of your camera, slot it inside one of the memory card slots, and therefore it will allow you to back up the footage that you just created on site while you're on the way to the next one with full wireless capabilities and network connectivity at 2.5 GBE and accessing it via Wi-Fi 6. And again, the whole time it can be in your bag and also synchronizing with cloud services, all with the battery inside. Now, that logic is why I really liked it. This, on the other hand, not only includes everything that this one does, but doubles, in some cases quadruples it. So for example, this has got 6 M.2 NVMe slots inside. And by the way, those 6 M.2 slots, they are Gen 4. So you've got slots inside there at Gen 4 times 4 and Gen 4 times 2. Now that is made possible because of the CPU. I'm going to keep looking at the notes, by the way, because there is a lot of information here to play with. So for example, it's arriving with an Intel Ultra core. That is the Intel Ultra 125H. Now that CPU inside there, it's a bigger boy. It does also mean that you've not only got enhanced memory card capabilities there, but on the other side of the system, we've got 10 gigabit network, and this is a mobile NAS with 10 gig. Now, the power source inside is larger than this. They do say active power use, so if you're accessing and sending data to it, that battery, it's only really going to last 30 minutes there, but it will last for longer in idle. We've had it here playing around for the better part of 40-45 minutes, and we're down to 81%. So again, it is going to last for a decent amount of time in idle, but this is designed for short-term deployments rather than long-term deployments like this one in terms of running from the battery. This is taking advantage of a lot more headless or clientless access. So for example, all of the features and services that you would have found on a mobile device are controllable here. Everything from the settings menu there that allows you to create a single wireless AP from this or connect it to an existing Wi-Fi network or that 10 GBE connection. But on top of that, using the individual settings there, you can access the files, access an onboard file explorer here on this, and again allowing you to view some files like this one that's allowing me to view a PDF there on the screen. So live data access, and again headless. More so from that, if we come out of it, we've got access to apps and services. How far they'll go, we have to wait and see. But things like Thunderbolt connectivity. This device has 2 Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 slots there. Again, they work in both directions. So whether that is you're using much faster connectivity or you're connecting a Thunderbolt drive for a faster backup, those options are open to you. This, again, is the beefy version, a Pro Ultra Series version of this. Again, rubberized casing, which they say will change over time, and those 6 M.2s inside, again, we covered this at the start of the year, all add up to an incredibly unique proposal here. And again, I know this isn't going to be for everyone, and I know mobile NAS devices can be considered niche beyond niche, but fair play to them. This thing has got me interested. In the 1 year since I saw them previewing the prototype at CES, a lot of us just wondered, is that going to be a real thing or a paperweight? it's genuinely real. Now moving back to more traditional NAS, UnifyDrive are going to be working towards a desktop model. Unfortunately, they weren't able to show it to me here. This is their marketing team here in Shenzhen. I think it's over in Beijing where most of the production and development takes place. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get a unit here for this, but I do have more information about that device. This is the UnifyDrive UC250, and this is going to be a 2-bay desktop NAS device. It's not a portable NAS device, but this little 2-bay one there runs with the Intel Twin Lake N355 CPU, and it's going to be arrived with 8 gig of memory that could be scaled up to 16 gig. Now, alongside that, the software arrives on a separate eMMC storage area at 32 gigabytes, and it arrives with a single 2.5 gigabit network port there in the rear. This is not anywhere near as exciting as any other products I've talked about today, but I wanted to include it predominantly because they're clearly expanding out. They've looked at the way people have kind of taken on board the UT2 and thought, you know what, we could have a place in this market, and fair play to them. Now, this 2-bay I'm not going to say is going to change the world or raise many an eyebrow as some of the other devices I'm going to talk about, but I want to include it predominantly because having a value series entry into any product family is going to allow for these devices to be used as a local and a remote backup. Now, you've already highlighted that because these are all going to be using the same software platform together, if you are someone that has got the UT2 and you want the easiest, most native way to set up a remote backup, this is going to be the way to do it. A little local, very cost-effective 2-bay Intel N150 CPU system locally in your home or office, and at the same time this remote. And therefore, not only will you got this on the go backing up your memory cards, backing up things on Wi-Fi via the mobile application, and the same goes, by the way, if you're going to be using that UP6, the result is going to be that you're going to be able to back those up remotely in the most easy, secure way possible. And that finally brings us to something arguably a lot more familiar. We're going to be looking at 4 bays. This is the UC450 Pro. There's also going to be the UC450 Non-Pro. Now, these are 2 4-bay devices with, very different hardware architecture inside them. And again, none of the solutions I'm talking about today are going to be going towards crowdfunding, from what I understand. There will be pre-ordering apparently on this one. Very early doors, but the rest of them will almost certainly see direct to traditional retail, or at least some kind of early access coupon or something. Now, the non-pro version of this 4-bay arrives with 4 SATA bays inside and 2 M.2s at 3x1 speed each. It's going to be arriving with the N355, that's that Twin Lake i3 8-core processor, and alongside that, it's going to have 16 gig of memory, delivered via a SODIMM module there, so upgradability, but again, that CPU has got its own maximums. It's going to be 2 network ports there, one 1 gig and the other one 10 gigs. They're both going to be 10 gig, which is kind of rare when you're seeing product families arrive with a pro and a non-pro version. Having 10 GB on a non-pro, where that sits with the pricing, it's going to be interesting, and also because it's arriving with an incredibly low TDP CPU, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do it. It's vertical injection methodology, so all the drives go directly there via the top. We will be hopefully reviewing this later in the year or the start of the next. Now, again, there'll be standard RAID support. There'll be their own software that we've already seen, UDM across, UDOS I should say, that's already available across all of these devices. But it's when we talk about the Pro Series box where things get quite interesting. They're going to be arriving with the Intel Ultra CPU, that's the 225H processor there. So again, we're talking high-end tera operation per second, inbuilt NPU-based ops there for semantic search, RAG, stuff like that. But what's really interesting is the storage profile there. So the NAS storage is going to be built into the following: 2 standard SATA bays there, so that's your SATA 3. But on top of that, there's going to be 2 U.2, and they are going to be at Gen 4 times 1 speed there. So that's 2 gigabytes per second bandwidth drive performance for each of those. And of course, capacity there, because it's U.2, it's going to be greater than M.2. But don't worry, M.2 is here with 4 M.2 Gen 4 ports. There's 3 Gen 4 times 4 and 1 Gen 4 times 2. Now, none of these devices is the storage being used towards the operating system. All of them arrive with storage on a separate storage module there in the background. Now, the Pro Series model alongside those high-performance storage drives inside there, in terms of network connectivity, that also arrives with 10 GBE on the rear, but it also arrives with Thunderbolt 4 USB 4 connectivity there, something that isn't available on that non-Pro model. Now, none of the pricing for any of these devices has been confirmed at this time, but the reason I wanted to tail out on this is, even though we started this video talking about portable NAS solutions, something that, although is really, really interesting, I hope isn't going to truly define UnifyDrive, I will say they are still bringing a few extra little bells and whistles to the table. So notwithstanding that whole U.2 and SATA storage capability inside these, but on top of that, things like this. This is a fun, funky little UPS device. This, by removing a little rubber panel there on the rear, slots into the rear of the system, and although it has a barrel connector that's going to be delivering the PSU and the power directly into it, you've also got that power module for some failover. They've used some of that borrowed knowledge, borrowed some of that architecture for power failover and integrated it into that. Recently, we have started to see a few different NAS brands out there playing around with the format of UPSs. And I think one of the great things that we've been seeing more and more in 2025 is not only the accessibility of UPSs, because home users have always been able to get hold of these things, but the integration of them natively is a big, big deal. And as we see more and more devices roll out with this as a feature, you know, data inconsistencies from an interrupted write or just simple access needs, having something like this built in, I find desirable. It's just another thing like these that kind of sets them apart from a growing herd of Chinese NAS brands that have exploded in the scene in the last 18 months or so, where we're starting to see, after the emergence of a gazillion solutions, we're starting to see the cream bubble to the top. We're starting to see the real cherry-picked ones that are evolutionary and by design stand out more than any other. And I think that's the big takeaway from their new solutions today. Now, at the moment, we're still in the process of finding out just exactly whether UnifyDrive are going to be unveiling these things incrementally. Are they going to be doing a large-scale event like CES, or are they going to be doing these things on other established kind of trade shows and stuff like that? But at least in the near future, it does look like we're going to be seeing announcements on some of these by the end of Q4 2025, so do stay tuned for that. But right now, if you had to ask me what thing on this table is interesting me the most, it will come as absolutely no surprise that the idea that I could have a portable NVMe Intel i5 powered 10 GBE NAS that could literally fit inside my rucksack, that to me is winner, winner, chicken dinner. But what do you guys think? What do you want to see? What do you hope these guys are actually going to go with? Did you buy the UT2? Were you happy with it? Did it lack some features? Do you think it leveraged more towards the NAS side than the DAS side, or vice versa? Did you get this thinking it's going to change your workflow, and did it? Let me know in the comments. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.